with chakra number 2. Do you guys see this? I love it so much that I want to give someone a chakra. So with that being said, I mean, chakra number 2 is all about nourishment. It has sandalwood, geranium, and orange. It has that citrusy smell, just feels good. And when you're not at school and you're not in that Aveda building, it's so nice to have a little bit of our second home at home. So with that being said, to have the chance of maybe winning a chakra, why don't you tell me, we'll pick one person later on, tell me what your favorite chakra is and why in the chat section. So if you want to maybe enter to win, go ahead and tell me what is your favorite chakra, okay? So hello everybody, and today is gonna be exciting. We have Lupe Voss. Lupe has been a guest educator with us for she's come to the Institute several times, but if you don't know by now, she has been, she has a new role with Aveda. She's the North American Art Director for Aveda Hair Color. Super excited. As you know, she's responsible for creating color magic, hair color magic with educational program, and it's just, I mean, it's so much energy, so much fun. I think you're going to learn a lot today when it comes to Aveda hair color and just from her expertise. So with that being said, I wanted to give a warm welcome to Miss Lupe Voss.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. How is everyone doing? I'm excited to share some education with you today. My name is Lupe Voss, like you just heard, and I am a colorist. And there's nothing more exciting about doing hair color on someone and changing how they feel. And it's not just about that, but it's like whatever haircut that you decide to do on someone, that color takes it to the next level. Today, what we're going to be featuring, we're going to do some foil work today. We'll go through tipping. We will go through microweaves and backcombing. I'll give you tips on foil work, on how to prevent some lines in the hair. There's a lot of situations that happen sometimes when we're foiling, so I'm going to give you a lot of tips on that. The product that we're going to be using today, we'll use Universal 0N and 5-volume cream activator. We'll also be using enlightener. On the mannequin, I'm actually using 5-volume because I'm doing a lot of education from home, of course, because we're on lockdown here in California. And we are reusing these mannequins. So today I'm using 5-volume. I normally do not use more than 20 volume whenever I'm doing clients. That's the highest I go. And we'll talk about it a little bit more about that. I'll keep recapping through the day. I hope you all have a head sheet and some paper, and a pen so that you guys can take some notes. So let's do this. This is the subsectioning that we're going to be working off today. So this is how you're going to start this. And this subsection is a subsection for anybody who has hair that's chin length or lower, because what happens is the hair falls the way it grows. So this is a universal subsection that can work for anything. You can do slices in it, you can backcomb it all, you can hair paint in this, you can do a full foil in this, you can do a partial foil in this. So this is how we start. So we're first going to start in quarters. It's going to be the top of the crown, and if you can see, it's to the back of the ear. Everyone touch that bone that's right behind your ear. Touch that bone behind your ear. That is the mastoid process area. That's the mastoid area. It's from there to the top of the crown, and from there to the top of the crown. And what this is going to do is going to split the back and the front. Then what we'll do is we'll take the center of the back and split it completely in half. And then in the front, we're going to use her natural part for this subsection, and that'll split the top in half. The first step we'll do is we'll create a triangle in the back. So it's from the parietal ridge where the head starts to curve down to the low, the point going down, and then we'll mirror the other side, tie that up in the knot, and then these two sections, clip them away. Super fast and simple. So that's the back. Then the front and the top, using the natural part on the mannequin or your guest. At the parietal ridge, from the recession back to the triangle, clip that up, and then we'll mirror the other side from recession to the back triangle, clip this up and clip this up. So this is what you're going to have. You'll have 4 subsections through this front and 3 in the back, total of 7. So that's your subsectioning. I'll recap that and probably at the end, so just in case if you need help, split it in half, split it in quarters, create a triangle, take that mohawk section using the natural part, clip those 2 up, and then you have 4 sections on the side, or 2 sections on the side. 4 total in the top front side. So our mannequin, I went ahead and got started because I didn't want to spend too much time on the second side. So we'll recap this after we do this. So we're going to actually do this side and the rest of it, and then we'll recap what I just did. So let me get this sorted out. So we have Enlightener, and what I'm going to do right now is start in the front. The front section, what we are going to be doing, we will be putting microweaves through this front area, through here and through this part, which is the fringe point, which I'll talk to you about subsectioning. This is what I want to talk to you about. Most of the time when I watch people start to do the front, I'll watch everybody's body do this. So if you see how I'm bending over, I'm like so. I'm doing this. I'm like so. So this is not good for your body. This is what I want you to tell your clients when you are starting to do the front of their hairline. So everybody do this with me. I'm going to come to the front so I can have you do this with me. So I want you to really think about your body. You should be standing straight, square to the floor. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to tell your guest to please put your ear to your right shoulder. So I want you guys to put your ear to your right shoulder, then ask them to put their chin down, and then look towards you. So what you've just done is you've gotten flat. You've gotten flat so that what we can do is put in a foil horizontally. What this will help you with is those foils that start to slide off. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have you all do it with me again while I tell Viola here to do it. So Viola, what I need you to do right now is to put your ear, let me get her sorted out here. Put your ear to your right shoulder, chin down, and then look up at me. So now what's happened is I have a flat plane that I get to work off of. So now I don't have to worry about moving around. I don't have to worry about my body. She's flat and I'm square to this front hairline. This is one of the reasons why some of our foils start to slide off. I'm going to do a microweave. So I've got her sorted out. I'm standing flat to her. My pintail comb is going to go straight up and down. It's not going to go horizontal. Team, this is an ultra weave. If you see my comb flat to the hair, this here is an ultra weave. And if you look at it, when I put the foil under here, you can see it's nice and even and it's really pretty. It's nice and even. So I've got a really nice even weave going in there. But what happens is when her hair grows out, she's going to have a nice even line as it grows out. So what I want to do is to create a blurred or a fuzzy line so when she pulls her hair back, you can't see it. So with my left hand, I'm going to have a lot of tension. With this right hand, my pintail comb is straight up and down like I'm writing, just like how you're writing right now. It's straight up and down. And I'm taking little zigzags as I slowly move down the hairline. Little zigzags. So what you want it to be is uneven. And if you grab little pieces too much and it's too heavy, just go from underneath and pull them out. Because what you want is you want it, let me show you this. You want it to be uneven. You want it to have little pieces that are out and then some heavy pieces and some pieces that are out. Because that's what happens when you go to the beach and you have your hair pulled back in a ponytail. That's how the light gets your hair. So we're going to give it a really nice natural highlight. So one question would be, would you foil the back one or would you foil the front? This is going to happen in your consultation. If your guest wants something that's really light and bright, you would totally do this one. If your guest wants something that is a graceful grow out and doesn't have as much maintenance, you would totally do this one. So today what we're going to do is this one in the back, because she wants to have, she doesn't want to have a lot of maintenance in her hair. So this is the one that we are going to do. All right, so what we'll do is we're going to move that hair out of the way. I'm going to pull this straight out from where it grows. So this is very, very, very important. If you are, let me turn her slightly so you can see. If you are doing a back comb in this front hairline to diffuse the line, you definitely want to hold this straight up, not at a 45 and definitely not over directed over. So pull this hair straight out from where it grows, and the reason why is you'll get a really close back combing to the root. So about 2 inches away from where the root is, the scalp, I'll kind of like rough up that hair. Lightly and slowly, I'll push all the way down to the scalp, and then what I'll do is I'll rock the comb back and forth, back and forth. And what this does is it creates a cushion at the scalp. Now I'm going to describe the steps that you're going to do in order to get the foil really in there good and tight, and then I'll do it with the foil. So what I'm going to do is you pull the hair away from where it grows completely, halfway down, stick the pintail comb in. So what I'm doing with my left thumb here, this one, is I'm pulling down to the ground, not towards me, but down to the ground. With my pintail comb, I'm pushing up to the ceiling. So here I am, I'm going to pull my left thumb down to the ground, my pintail comb straight up to the ceiling. You can see my pinky is actually holding that. And as I do this, I'm dragging down with some tension. And what will happen is all that back combing, the foil helps that back combing come up and over. So that's the movement that I'm going to be doing now. So let's do that again. So I'm pulling this directly away from where it grows. Halfway down, I'll put the foil in. I'm pulling this down to the ground. As I'm doing that, the back combing is getting pushed away from me to behind the foil. And now I'm going to slowly pull this pintail comb out. And I'm following the head shape. And what that does, team, see if you can see how it's really tight around that scalp. I'm going to pull this out so I can show this to you. You can see how it's following the shape of the head. You can see how it's following the shape of the head. Okay, so I'm going to do that again with a fresh foil. You can fold forward, you can fold back. This really doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm going to pull this away from where it grows, halfway down, put the foil, pull down to the floor, pull up with a pintail, and then dismount with a curve to the head. And then what I'm going to do is any little tiny piece of back combing, I'm going to pull that up and over. It's almost like I'm picking it up and pulling it off. If you need for you to have more control of that back combing, just simply get a flat clip, that's a flat clip, and pull that back combing away. So I am going to, oh, I just spun a little bit of enlightener. Sorry about that. Sorry, girl. All right. So I'm going to apply the enlightener to the foil. And what I'll do is I'm pulling this out gently. My hand is actually up against her. I'm holding my fingertips were, when I get to the root, my hand is right to her head to brace it. And then here I go. I'm going to start addressing this mezzanines. This is really important for saturation. As you apply, you need to start rolling this back and forth to open up that hair to make sure that the saturation is perfect. So here we go. We're going to roll that back and forth, roll that back and forth. And it really is important if you have long hair to get long foil. I believe that it helps to make sure that you don't get any shadowing. Okay, so now I'm really rolling this back and forth. Now, I'm going to address the hairline, or I'm sorry, the root area. So now what I'm doing is this foil is being directly pulled out at a 90 as I address her hairline. And this is why. If you don't pull that out at a 90, then what's going to happen is you're going to get a line. It's kind of like when we're cutting hair. If you think about when you cut hair, you're holding it down at a 0. If you hold that foil down at a 0, you're going to get a strong line. If you pull it out at a 90, which is something we do for highlighting, for layering, then what you'll do is you'll get no line. So you won't be able to see it if that client pulls her hair back. So let's lock this foil in. Hairline foils always tend to slide. So after I folded it up twice, I folded this side over. I'm simply going to put my teeth in the comb, and with my hand, I'm going to create a little notch right inside there. So that foil is not going to go anywhere. It's locked in, but you're only going to do one side, and the reason why, it'll be too hard to take out if you don't. So let's do one more. I'm going to take my parting, mirroring that hairline, drop that out. Okay, pull this hair straight out from where it grows. Let's do a little microwave with my pintail comb straight up and down. Zigzags, tiny zigzags, go slow. Pull this hair up and out of the way. For control, I'll take a flat clip. This is the flat clip, they're star clips. Clip that out of the way. I get these from Hairbrained. If anyone's going to ask ahead of time, I'll just let you know. I get them from hairbrained.pro. Okay, pull this straight out from where it grows. Rough up the hair, probably 2 inches away from where it grows. Slide down that real slow. Rock that hair back and forth to create a cushion at the scalp. Get your foil. Pull the hair, over direct it completely from where it grows, halfway down the hair shaft. Insert your foil, slide down to the ground with your left hand, pulling up to the ceiling with your right. Dismount your pintail, following the head shape. Get rid of all that little tiny backcombing that's still there. And they're teeny tiny little pieces. This is something that's going to give you a really pretty, natural highlight. So then once that's done, see, I'm painting this down. If I were to paint, I see a lot of YouTubers do this and then fold it. You're going to get a strong line right there. So when she pulls her hair back, you're going to see it. So this is what you can do that while you're addressing the mids and ends. But then what I want you to do when you get to the point, let's roll this back and forth, make sure that we're saturated. What I want you to do is you need to make sure that this is being pulled out at a 90, and then pull, my hand is up against her head for support, and I'm pulling this directly out from where it grows. Team, this is going to prevent any lines that will be happening. If you do not like this, if you don't like to fold up and you want to learn how to, if you want a little trick to keep it from sliding at the beginning, because it's really, learning how to fold that up can be hard. You can sandwich a foil. This would be easy. Okay, then do your fold. So we've got 1, 2. Let's lock that foil in. So we've got fold it, and then you're going to lock it by pushing that up. You're going to create that little lip, and then lock it again. Those are 2 of the microwave foils that we're going to have here. So when she pulls her hair back, it's going to be really nice and pretty. The next technique, here we go. Now what we have is this little section right here. Yes, Em?
So Michelle has a question. She wants to know, did someone teach you or did you create your techniques?
I created my techniques. I'll tell you why, or I'll tell you how. And this is really important, team. I've been doing hair now for 38 years, and I learned how to do all of this by mistakes that have happened. And I always practice. If I'm not on a client, doing client's hair, I'll pull a mannequin out and I start practicing these techniques. I've always been really good at being able to figure it out. So, and I went to Cosmo school and we didn't have foil work. We were pulling hair through a cap or balayage. So I actually had to teach myself how to foil.
Julianne is asking, what is the best way to practice getting faster with foils?
Do it. Do it, Joanne. That's the best way to do it, is just get it. The more you do it, the better and the faster you get. And, there's times where the other day, I've been doing hair 38 years. You don't get it right all the time. I even had something that slid and I knew better. And I'll tell you why, and I'll show you exactly where it was. All right. So here we go. We are going to do a couple of back-to-back tipping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my parting. So let me go back. Let me back up because I just started automatically working. So I just did 2 foils. Now what I have here is a small little odd-shaped square. So from the front hairline down to the back of the ear, I'm going to split that diagonally in half, perfectly in half.
Cheyenne is asking, do you press the comb and the foil for every subsection or just the hairline sections?
Mostly just the hairline section, that little notch to support it. But I would suggest wherever there's a curve on the head, I would lock it. Okay, so here we go. We've got, we split this in half. What I'm going to do with my finger, I'm organically taking a strong weave effect, which is 3 weaves. And the reason why I'm using my finger is because I want it to look natural. I don't want it to be a perfect weave. I want it to where she curls her hair or blow dries her hair, it looks natural. And I'm going to clip away this hair for control underneath. Here we go. Now I've got this hair. This one, this first back comb, this is really important. The elevation is important for this. I don't want this to go all the way up to the root. I only want it to go halfway up. If I were to hold it straight down, think of a 0 in a haircut, and back comb, it would just go to here, just the tip. If I take it out at a 45 and I back comb, it'll go a little bit further. If I take it directly out at a 90 and back comb, I can get to the root. These I'm going to do at a 45 because I want to have it a really pretty graceful shadowing in her hair. So I'm going to hold the hair at a 45, stand right in front of it. At the middle of the hair, I'm just lightly roughing up the hair so you can see there's some back combing happening right there. So I'm roughing up that hair. There's texture. I'm going to lightly put the comb in and move up 1 inch past where I want the highlight to be. So I want the highlight to be here. If I drop that down, it's at her cheekbone. So I'm going to move just the back combing only 1 inch past where I want the highlight to start. Am I in camera good?
You need to get a little closer to the mannequin.
Okay, I'll do that.
When you're talking.
Okay. So I've got my 1 inch past where I want the highlight to start. And this is why. I want there's some issues that happen when we back comb. For example, lines. It looks like a horizontal dip dye. Putting that 1 inch gap here, this is my blending area. I'm going to use Universal Zero In, and I'm going to take Enlightener and pull it up and melt it out. That's going to give it a really pretty graceful dismount of color. So this is what I'm going to do. This is a 1 inch gauge on my foil. So every time I do this tipping, I know, team watch, I know I can put my enlightener from this lip, 1 inch lip, all the way down. And everything above that is going to be my blending area. So let's do this. This one you don't really have to worry about it being pulled out at a 90 at the top part because it's not at the root. Anything that's at the scalp, I should say. Anything that's at the scalp, you want to make sure when you're addressing it, the last thing you do is pull that foil out at a 90. This, you can hold it down, keep it at a 45, roll it back and forth, and you can see how much product I'm using. The more product you have, the better the lift. The longer the lift, the more even the lift. Here we go, we're rolling it back and forth. I'm going to grab my Universal Zero in that little section. If you feel that you need control, if you want control, because I really don't want to put it in the back combing, you can, like we did above, you can clip that out of the way so that you have a clean section to work in. I think it's an extra step for me, but I just want you guys to see what we're doing. This is the Universal Zero In. The Universal Zero In is what's going to blend out that enlightener. Okay, so let's do this. We're rolling it back and forth. If you think you have enough product here, and this is really the key, add more, because this is going to disrupt the lift that you're getting with your enlightener. Grab some of your enlightener, pull it up, and then take your brush and go back and forth, making sure that you really get inside there to blend out that hair.
Gaia is asking, how do you stay inspired?
Oh, by you all. That's how I stay inspired, by teaching. I love teaching. Okay, here we go. Pull this up halfway. Don't waste your time. If you notice, I'm not going to push down where that enlightener is. I can push down on either side but not where that enlightener is, because that will move the product off the hair. So let's fold this up. So Gaia, I really enjoy teaching. I love sharing technique. Formulation is so much fun, but I do believe that technique is everything. So I did put a little edge on here, just if you guys want to see that, you guys can see there's a slight edge on there too, just if you want to. So here we go. Now, if you notice, I'm moving her head just like how you would for a haircut. So now I'm here. I'm going to make sure that I keep this at a 45. All of these are going to be pulled at a 45 because I want it halfway up. Here we go. The technique is take a strong weave effect, which is 3 weaves, clip away this other, and then I'm going to do it again. Yes, Em?
Dewey's asking, will sandwiching the foil give you the same results if you were to fold it regularly?
On these tips, I'll show you why. I would have you sandwich anything that you were doing in tipping. I normally layer the formulas, which we do call sandwiching, when I'm using 2 different colors, or if I know something on the end is going to interrupt something that's on the top, which we have our universal 0 in here. So yes, I would make sure when you're doing that, you would use a layered. Okay, here's my measurement. I'll slide the foil in. So this is telling me I'm allowed to go from here down with my enlightener. And I'll show you, I'll give you a little visual. Oh, let me give you a visual on this. You can take all your little backcombing and clip it away. I forgot about that, just to give you guys a trick to do. So we're using the lip on the foil for our measurement. Now, this is something else that I want you guys to pay attention to. This is a nuance that happens that will help you when you're starting to work your enlightener. So I'll apply the enlightener with my brush perpendicular or flat to the hair. And as I roll it, my brush goes vertical, and that gives me more leverage versus doing this. Doing this kind of roughs up the cuticle, where if you do this, you're really moving the hair back and forth and really pushing down, getting it inside there. So again, I'll apply the product with my brush flat to the hair, and then I take it vertical. And this helps me with making sure that I really get great saturation. And you can see how much product I use. I use a lot of product. I like a lot of product because it gives it a lot of lift, and it's really interesting. You know, hair's like a sponge. It's going to soak some of it up. I'll pick up my universal, and now my hair is flat to the hair. I'm pulling up. I'm pulling enlightener and grabbing a tiny bit of enlightener. Grab some more universal. Now my brush will go vertical, and I'm rolling it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
Cheyenne is asking, do you ever combine your techniques during a service?
All the time. I've got microwaves going on, and now this one's tipping. In between, if I'm finished and I find that the guest's hair needs a little bit more, in between my foils, I'll even hair paint. Okay, so we've got it folded in half. I'm not going to push down here, but I'll push on either side because I can tell where enlightener is. I love to do more than one technique on my clients. Okay, here. So this side is done. This is pretty fast. This is a very fast blonding technique. So I've got 2 microwaves, 2 tips. We're going to go to the back and get these tips taken care of. So let's do this. In the back, you're only going to be doing 2 tips, which is super fast. Let me grab a brush. All right, so here we go.
Nicole is asking, what inspires you to teach?
You know, so I'll tell you guys the story. Let me give you this, and then Nicole, I'll answer you. So we've got the back. You guys can see the subsectioning here. It's a rectangle. I'm going to take from the ear to on top of the occipital bone, split that in half. I'm going to do 1 tip down here and then 1 tip up here. I'll use the same techniques as what we just talked about, and then I'll give you guys a little bit of chat about what inspired me. I graduated way before you were born in 1981. And what happened was, when I was going to school, I didn't have this. You all have social media. You guys can watch people on TV on all these channels, and you're able to get some classes. This is pretty amazing. Well, back in the day, I didn't have that opportunity, and I would go to shows and I would go places to learn, and I really didn't learn. I don't know what it was. They were platform artists that I would go see, and what they would do is they would be motivating. They would motivate me, and to be motivated, you will do something for about 60 days and then you stop. But I didn't learn these little nuances. I didn't learn these little movements. I didn't know, nobody could share them with me, or I don't know what the issue was, or maybe they couldn't, I don't know. And I told myself when I opened my salon that I would have a company that was based on education to help grow individuals. So what I started doing is I started studying why we do what we do and what the end result is going to be. You all should say to yourself, the minute you learn something, why? Why are you doing that? What happens? What happens if you hold it straight down? Why would you pull it forward? Why would you put tension? Like if someone says something, they need to answer why. That way you can learn from it. Well, having that and starting to teach my team at the salon, it was amazing to see that these people, the work that they were doing, and how they learned to love their craft even more. And that's what inspires me, is to give you all tools to make a beautiful, decent living and enjoying yourself and creating. We have an amazing job, actually. Okay, so there was my one foil. So here I'm going to take this one. I'm pulling it out of 45. Let's take a strong weave effect. So I started teaching my team first, and then I became a trainer, and then I started studying through Janine O'Neill Blackwell for format training. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up 1 inch past, and these are pretty chunky pieces. So if you need to do this one at a time, this is what it would look like. You would be working off of that part of your comb. So you make sure that it's really nice and cushioned. If you need to have a clip to hold it back, team, don't be, just do that. Just put the clip in and there you go. And so that's going to be 1 inch from down there.
And what is mixed with a 0 end?
5 volume. 5 volume. You don't really need a lot of working time because it's not doing anything but diluting your enlightener. So we've got that clip there to hold that back coming back. I've got my 1 inch lip. I know I can go from here down with enlightener.
Miranda's asking, are you using the same brush for the enlightener and the 0 end?
No, I have 2 separate brushes. And I will tell you, once I use one, and I'll repeat that. Once I put that universal on, I don't put the brush back in the bowl. I always keep it on the side. Because I don't want it to ruin the rest of the product that's in the bowl. Okay, so I'm picking up my product, apply it horizontally, roll it back and forth.
Beth is asking, do you have your clients tilt their head when working on certain areas?
All the time. It's just like hair cutting, team. Think about when you haircut. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this up. I'm going to move this clip out of the way because I don't like working with clips. It was just a tip for you. Okay, so I'm going to pull this up. Yes. Think about hair cutting, because what happens is if you were going to cut a 0, or if you were pulling it out at a 90 and her head is straight up, you're creating a flat layer. If you're pulling it out at a 90 and her chin's down, you're creating a 45. It's the same thing for color. Same thing for color. However you cut her hair, where her head is positioned when you're doing tipping, when you're doing this technique, have them do the exact same thing, and your tipping will be beautiful because you're doing it for the haircut. You're doing it for the haircut. We should color hair for what the haircut is telling us. Okay, so let's sandwich. Okay, so I know that there was a question before. If I folded this up into here, you can see that this part has enlightener on it, and this is my universal 0 end. So if I folded that up, this now contaminated that now contaminated that. So that's one of the reasons why when you're using more than one color, you should do that. One other trick you could do would be to fold this in thirds and then fold it up. That's fine too, but I find enlightener, and team, the more you fold, the longer it takes. In the salon, quite frankly, if I needed to hurry up, I wouldn't even fold that up. I would just leave that and just keep working. That way they're like little sheets of foil that just lay out. Okay, so let's fold it up once. Pinch the sides on either side of that enlightener. Put this in. I'll lock it in just so that you guys can see how to lock a long foil. And then let's do that. So now we've got 2 foils in the back. We've got 2 foils on the side that are tipping. We've got 2 microweaves in the front hairline. And we did the same on this side. Let's show you. We have 2 microweaves in the hairline, 2 on the side, 2 in the back. So she's done all the way around her sides and her back. So now let's go to her triangle in the back. So this is what I like to call the triangle of life. So I will have her chin up. And as I'm working, what I will do is I'll have the chair down because I want to be on top of this. I'll have the chair completely down and I'll have her work with me on this top. So let's split that in half. This is how fast this technique is, team. This is really a lot of fun because it's a quick, fast, blonding, beautiful lived-in color technique. Here we go. So I'm going to split that section in half, clip away the hair that's on the top, and then we're going to do the same. So now I've actually created a tiny little triangle if you look at that. So let's comb her out, do a strong weave effect again. Let's clip this hair out of the way for control. You always want to clip the hair out of the way so you can see what you're working on. This one, with her chin up, I'm going to back comb. So these are going to be higher up because her chin is up. Think about the angle. I'm standing square to her. I'm pulling this up versus if her head was here and then I did it. This would be lower. If you want this to be lower and her have more of a drag at the root, you would have her put her chin down. If you want it to be higher, you would have her chin up. We want her chin up. And I'm going to take this directly out from where it grows so I can get higher to the root. So I'll insert my comb, just rough up 2 inches from the root. And you can see they're not even. I don't want them to be even. Okay. And then I'll take my comb, push this all the way down to the root. Roll it back and forth. Back and forth. Okay, I'll have her tilt her chin back just a tad bit more. We're going to do the same. Put a 1-inch lip. What other questions do you have, team? Okay, let's grab this enlightener. Pull it straight down. Roll it back and forth. So I work fast. I do want to give you a couple of tips on enlightener. You get the most lift in the first 20 minutes that the product is actually stirred up. So if you want to have even lift, you should be mixing a half a batch at a time. So you would mix 15 grams of enlightener to 30 mils of your activator. I don't use anything more than 20 because you get the lift from the powder, not the bleach. You get the lift from the powder, not the developer. You get the lift from the bleach, not the developer. Your developer is your working time. So what you need to do is you need to make sure that you only work, if you have a lot of hair to do and you want it to lift up really nice and even and not worry about rinsing out the back because the top hasn't caught up, always work in 15 grams. You can have them prepared. Like, for example, I have a bowl that's sitting on the side I'm about to mix right now. You can actually have them prepared, but don't stir them up, not until you're ready to use them. And what happens is you get the most lift in that first 20 minutes. Okay, so pull this down. Let's sandwich this. We'll fold this up. Here. If you want, you can lock it. your hair, lock it, and then drop that one down. So now we're gonna do our last. We'll have her put her chin up a little bit more. Let's do a strong weave effect. Clip this out for control. Pull this directly up from where it's growing. Rough it up at the root. Push this down. And then roll it back and forth. Make sure you've got a really nice cushion. Okay, and if you want, you can do the same movements as we did before. Pull that up and over, get that back combing out. You have that 1-inch lip, go right below that. That is your blending area. Where do you all get your inspiration from? Do that here. Let's roll this back and forth.
Sasha is asking, is it more difficult to detangle all the back combing after you shampoo?
Oh, great segue into removal of color. All right, so she's done processing. I take her to the shampoo bowl. Whenever you're rinsing enlightener out, shampooing enlightener out, you need to shampoo it 3 times. I'm not talking about a really long, beautiful massage. I'm like, get her out. Get all this stuff out. Let's get all of this cleaned up. Let's get all this enlightener out of the hair. So the first one, you're going to rinse out the enlightener. Maybe use Detox, Shampure, something that is a sulfate shampoo. For your first 2 shampoos, just shampoo her, get it out as fast, as quick as you possibly can. Your last shampoo should be your sulfate-free shampoo, and this would be something, think about what her hair, what is it damaged? Does it dry? Does she need Nutriplenish? Does she need scalp benefits? You think about all your sulfate-free options and use that for her last shampoo. Then what you're going to do, and I'm going to be real literal. So you're going to shampoo 3 times. The first 2 is going to be with the sulfate shampoo. The last one will be a sulfate-free shampoo. Then what you're going to do is towel dry. Then you'll apply finish on her hair for 3 to 5 minutes. Finish is what stops all the chemical processes that's happening in her hair. So if she has any enlightener still living in her hair, it stops all of the chemical action. So while you put the finish on and her hair is towel dried, she's gonna her hair is actually gonna start coming. It's gonna normalize it. Well, while she's doing that, that's when you get a wide tooth comb and you start combing from her ends. If you put the comb here and start combing out her back combing, you're locking that back combing in her hair. What you have to do is, while she's like this, what you're going to do is you're going to grab your comb and you're just going to start right like doing this, right at the end. And what you're doing is you're untangling the hair. And it is, watch what happens. If I put a back comb here, and it's, if you notice, I'll rough it up, but I only back comb once. And the reason why is because when she's at the bowl, watch how easy it is for me. Halfway, I'll just grab the ends and I'm pulling all that back combing out. See how fast that is? That's how you would do it. That's why I really only back comb once. When I'm ruffling the hair or roughing it up like so, I'm creating texture. So when I put my pintail comb in, I only push up once. So practice that. So that when you're at the shampoo bowl, while she's got finish on her hair, just slide it out. And I would do it with finish, and I'll tell you why. Finish has a really nice, thick, conditioning texture to it, and the hair glides even better. So if you're doing it and her hair doesn't feel like it's gliding through, put more in there and start massaging it into the back combing, and then go from there. So we've got, team, let's look at this. We've now got, let me turn her again, 2 front microweaves. Then we have back comb tipping all the way through. And now we're going to start on this front hairline. And how's our timing, Manuel?
It's 44 after, so.
All right. So I'm going to microwave. Let's do the short side, and then that way it'll be faster. So now I'm going to microwave this side.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
Which technique do you use most?
I use all of these techniques actually. This is something that I would do in the salon behind the chair. This is something that I would do on a guest that comes in and wants to have blonding done. So I'm going to have my pintail. And like I said, if I see those pieces that are left out and I want to brighten up those tips, I would go through and hair paint, or I would grab them all, pull them forward, and back comb all of them. So then there's no hair left behind. All of it will have a blonde finish to it. Okay, so let's do some micro weaving with some back comb. Pull it away from where it grows, halfway down. Dismount with the head shape. Pull that up and over. And then what I'm going to do is I will let her process. I'll finish her and post her on my Instagram story, or I can send this image to Amy and maybe Amy can post it for the team, and then you guys can see her final result. I'm not going to tone her. I'm not going to put a gloss on her. Okay, pull this out at a 90. Make sure you address the root with a 90. Like I said before, you can pull this up and over.
Michelle is asking, have you ever used 30 or 40 volume developer? If so, what was the reason?
I never use 30 and 40 when I work in foil. If I've ever used 30 and 40, it's for hair painting, open air processing. That's the only time. You don't get the lift from the developer. You get the lift from the powder. And the reason why we do it with open air is because it encases, and you don't have this foil that's closing up to process. It dissipates. You lose the power faster. Okay, so let's do this up and over. Bring it down.
Sophia's asking, is the 0N and 5 volume equal parts?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, here. Yes, it is. All right, so what I'm going to do now is diagonally work back, doing the tipping. So the two techniques that we are featuring here today are microweaves and tipping. So we'll pull this up. I'm going to slide that enlightener up to the root, fold it in half, fold it over, lock it, fold it in half, lock it. So now I'm at the top, and I'm going to mirror the other side. We'll probably run out of that time by the time I'm ready for that. I'm going to take 2 fingers, and I'm diagonally going to slide through, and it's going to create 3 parts. So I'm diagonally going through. I have 1, 2, 3. And we're going to do the same as what we did before. We're going to do a strong wave effect. Start at the top at the parting. Here, here, here. Push this down. This is going to be held directly from where it grows. So if she needs to put her chin down, put her chin down. Rough it up. Gently and slowly take this back combing to the root. Rock it back and forth. This one is at the root, so we're going to do the same movement as we did with the microweaves. Over direct, slide it down. Dismount with the head shape. Pull all of that back combing up and over. Up and over. So now that, I'm going to put the enlightener all the way through.
Cheyenne is asking, being very experienced with color, do you still sometimes have bleeders when lightening?
Yes. So let me tell you the story, and it just happened probably a couple of months ago. I was talking to my client. I was running behind. She was moving her head around. I know all this stuff that I'm teaching you. I've been doing this hair for 38 years. And what happened was I didn't hold that hair up at a 90. I held it down because she was moving around so much talking. And what happened was when I was finished, she had a line and she had a slight bleeder on the other side of her foil. So if you create bleeders, what happens is the foil is being held down and there was too much product put at the root. It's not that you got close to the root, it was just too much product. So if you see me when I do this, And I'll do this. I'm pulling actually product down from that root area so that when I fold it and I have tension, it doesn't push out the product. So bleeders happen from not elevating the foil up. Also, they can happen from putting too much product at the root. All right, so we've got this happening. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here. I'll describe what I'm going to do and then talk to you. Let's do a little bit of a recap. I'll finish this mannequin and then post it. So I will do the same in this section and in this section. And then here, I'll take this side and do the same. I'll take and split this way. I'll do the same in this section, and this section. And then we'll actually put her up so that you can see her final result. So here's our sectioning from when we started, ear to ear, front to back, using her natural part in her hairline, and then create the triangle in the back. Take the parietal, clip these up, and you have 4 sections. You're going to microwave this whole hairline. Tips, split this in half, tips, split this in half, tips, split this in half, tips, 3 tips, and mirror the other side. Very fast, very easy. We'll have the final result. I think the key points for today is when you're doing your foil, microwave foils, pull it straight out at a 90. Back home, lift the hair up halfway, insert your pintail comb, slide your hair down with your left hand, up with your right hand. Make sure that you're pushing that back combing up and away. Put your enlightener on with your brush flat to the hair. As you're working the product in, you're going to take the brush vertically and roll it back and forth. Place your foil up, foil it again. Put the lip on the one side, and then just make sure you put a crease on that foil, especially on the hairline, and then you'll be good. The next thing I want you to think about is when you're addressing that side, make sure that your guest is putting her ear to her left shoulder, chin down, and then look up at you. And anything that is horizontal to where you're working, your foils will be nice and close to the scalp, and then just lock it in and you should be good. Our processing time is going to probably be 30 minutes. I'll shampoo her out, finish, blow dryer, and then I'll have either Amy put this up on your page, maybe at the end of this video, and then I'll definitely put it on my story. It's Instagram is at Lupe Voss, pretty easy. And then I'll put that up later on this afternoon as well. So do we have so for today, I'm going to give a prize out for, what is the prize? Do we know what our prize is? Amy, do we know what the prize is? Okay. Or Jamie, do we know what our prize is? So for today, we have a prize for you all. And first of all, thank you guys so much for doing this. This is amazing. And for the winner for today, which I'll get you what you're going to win in a minute, for asking the most questions, for being the most engaged, it's going to be Cheyenne. Thank you, Cheyenne, so much for asking so many questions. This is the thing, team. All y'all got to ask questions if we're going to learn. The prize is a grab bag, and they can contact McKenna to pick up what your grab bag is. And would you mind just sharing with everyone after you're done, Cheyenne, what you picked from your grab bag? So thank you guys so much for everything. I just keep on learning, get as much as you possibly can, get as much engagement as you possibly can. Ask questions. That's how we all learn. A teacher learns by your questions, and you're going to learn from it too. I want to thank you guys so much, and I can't wait for you to see our mannequin when we're finished. Thank you guys.